So if you were thinking about buying the DJI Mini 3 Pro with the RC-N1 controller instead of this to save yourself like what, 300 bucks? Nah, don't do it. Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Big Ball Vlogs. If you're not so new to the channel, you probably have been wondering, because somebody asked me this on Instagram, why haven't I posted a video in a while? Well, I thought I posted this in the previous video, but around the time that I stopped posting drone videos, the president was elected. And he made the tri-state area, because he's a Delawarean, pretty much a no-fly zone almost every other weekend. So with my schedule, my work schedule, and everything else going on, drone content started to fall off. On top of that, there was legislation, regulation, remote ID, a lot of rules and regulations that I just couldn't keep up with, and I didn't want to, break the rules. I wanted to stay compliant. I even tried traveling with the thing. I wanted to take it to Mexico, look at the rules. You can't fly a drone in Mexico unless you're a Mexican citizen. Didn't want to end up in a Mexican jail or be deported on my vacation. Took it to Bahamas, same thing. Airports, reception issues, just made droning not as fun as it used to be for me. So with that said, I wanted to get into this. I'm going to keep it short. I mean, this is going to be a short video. I'm going to try to keep it under 5 minutes. It's not going to be a video about specs, because I know you guys probably seen a million other videos explaining the specs on this thing down to details that I probably don't even know. I'm the guy who came out with the channel that was going to try to save you some money. If I thought that buying the RC-N1 was the way to go, I would definitely suggest it to you. But in this situation, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to say, hey, save up the money, spend a little bit more, and get this controller. So for me personally, the original DJI Mavic controller was probably the best controller that I've used up until this controller. And the reason for that is because it had a screen on it. It wasn't a screen that you can see what the drone was doing through the camera. It was a telemetry screen. And I absolutely love that, because there were times when the Mavic came out and it was, new, and there were issues with the firmware and with the app that you would absolutely lose everything that was going on your phone. Cord might come undone, or battery might go dead in your phone. You would lose it. That telemetry screen gives you a sense of security that you absolutely love and want when you're flying a drone, because if you can't see what's going on through your phone, you want to know if that drone is coming, going, flying away, coming back to you. You just want to know what's going on in the air, and I absolutely love that. So DJI removed that screen for a couple of iterations all the way up into this. You had versions of the original controller that didn't have the digital screen. Then you had the RC-N1 style controller, which is the predecessor to this, and I kind of didn't like the fact that it didn't have a screen. So when this came out, I was like, oh, gotta get it. And the reason I wanted to get it is because I remember a time when I was about to ditch DJI because Autel, and I believe the original Evo, had a screen built into their controller. I love the fact that I don't have to use my phone. I don't have to use my phone to fly the drone. That should be I should make that some kind of t-shirt. If you're like me, again, you're trying to save a couple bucks, save it by buying this controller instead of buying the DJI smart controller for like 800 bucks, maybe 700 used, or buying the DJI RC Pro, which I believe is like 1,200 bucks, or 1,100 used. Those controllers are absolutely great for people who are going to use all the functionality. But if you don't use it and you're thinking about flying something small like this, you want something like this. So it's going to give you enough functionality and give you the features at a lower cost. That's the way you save money. But some of you guys are going to say, hey, I want the latest, greatest, biggest, most expensive, and that's the one I'm going to buy. And that's up to you, because that's your dollar. Now, when it comes to this controller itself, I can tell you I was a little bit skeptical because it didn't have physical antennas. I'm not used to flying controllers. I am old school. My original, when I started flying remote control aircrafts, planes, and helicopters, had a 7-foot antenna sticking out of it. And everybody was shocked when we went to these little rubber duck antenna, and they're like, that thing's not going to get, 100 yards without crashing. Now I'm down to something that has no physical antennas on it at all, that could probably fly at a distance that I probably wouldn't want to post on YouTube, because it might be, a fine or something that might come to me. There's just nothing for me to fold. There's nothing for me to have to worry about breaking when I throw it in a bag. These little knobs right here, they snap into the back, and this big thing becomes a little flush, tiny little controller that kind of matches the drone. Don't need a super giant controller to run a tiny little drone. And another reason that I love this controller is the fact that this controller, for me personally, has everything set up in the way that I want it. Default. I didn't have to pre-program any buttons or reprogram any buttons. I love the way that it works. I've got a button here that kind of pans the camera down fast and pans it back up level. I've got one here that turns it from vertical to portrait, horizontal to portrait. Yeah, it changes it from horizontal to portrait. I've got a shutter button. I've got a record button. I've got a roller wheel that'll zoom for me, making dolly zoom so freaking easy versus hit this button, pull back, and then try to roll this thing. And then I got another button that controls the pitch of the gimbal. I mean, everything was set up in the way that I like it, right out of the box default. And there is, I guess, something that's going to come out looking at some of the things that have been posted for this. Some other attachments that you're going to be able to plug into this host button are going to allow you to be able to connect your phone for some reason. Don't know why you would need to, but that is the future that DJI plans to use for this little host button on the bottom. That might be an HDMI out, who knows? If you want the latest greatest, that's going to be probably the best controller that you have for a while until DJI figures out how to beat this. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. I would suggest you save the money or buy the combo that comes with the RC remote. Thanks for watching. If you've been sticking with the channel and you're still a fan or you're still a follower, thank you very much. I'm going to try to get more content out about the Mini 3 Pro because, like I said, it's changed my mind about mini drones, and I'll get back to you soon.